1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Munib Ahmed. The headlines. Parliamentary Party of PTI in its meeting in Islamabad today discussed overall political and economic situation in the country today. Interior Minister says peace has been achieved after a lot of sacrifices and no one will be allowed to disrupt peace and law and order situation in the country. Special Assistant on Health has said the government will provide coronavirus vaccine free of cost to general public. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, complete shutdown was observed in Kupwara town today to remember the victims of deadly massacre by Indian troops in 1994. Russia and the United States have agreed to extend treaty on reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms without preconditions. In the first cricket test of two-match series against South Africa in Karachi, Pakistan in their first innings were 308 for 8 at stumps today. Now, the news in detail. A meeting of PTI's parliamentary party was held in Islamabad today with Prime Minister Imran Khan in the chair. Overall political and economic situation of the country was discussed in the meeting. Prime Minister Imran Khan has stressed for expediting the development projects in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and said that he would personally visit the province to review the progress on the development projects. The Prime Minister expressed these views while talking to Governor Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Shah Farman, who called on him in Islamabad today. During the meeting, the Governor Khyber Pakhtunkhwa briefed the Prime Minister about the olive cultivation, billion tree honey and billion tree dried fruit projects in the province. He also briefed the Prime Minister on reforms in the administration of universities in the province. Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed has said that peace has been achieved after a lot of sacrifices and no one will be allowed to disrupt peace and law and order in the country. He expressed these views while jointly presiding over a high-level meeting along with Chief Minister Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Mahmood Khan in Peshawar today on the law and order situation in the province. The Interior Minister said Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has played a frontline role for establishment of peace in the country and the entire nation holds sacrifices for its people and law and enforcement agencies in high esteem. Sheikh Rashid said the government is well aware of problems of the province and all necessary resources would be provided to it. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Senator Shibli Faraz has said that the opposition is restoring to negative propaganda on the issue of loans taken by the present government. Talking to the media persons in Islamabad today, he said 6 trillion rupees were used to pay back the past loans and the interest on them. He said 1.2 trillion rupees were provided to support different sectors, especially the disadvantaged segments of the society in the wake of outbreak of COVID-19. Shibli Faraz said the economy stands stabilized as a result of effective policies of the government and benefits of improvement in economic indicators will reach the masses very soon. When asked about the upcoming Senate elections, the Minister for Information and Broadcasting said the government believes in holding the exercise in the most transparent manner. He said the government has sought guidance of the Supreme Court on the open balloting. He said we have also prepared a bill on the matter and it will be seen whether or not the opposition supports the legislation. To another question, Shibli Faraz said there is no consensus amongst the opposition parties as they are pursuing conflicting narratives and interests. Special Assistant to Prime Minister on Health Dr. Faisal Sultan says the government will provide coronavirus vaccine free of cost to general public. Participating in an online workshop pertaining to the health sector today, he said China has gifted 500,000 doses of the vaccine to Pakistan, which will be made available to the people free of cost. The Special Assistant said that in the first phase, frontline health workers will be vaccinated, while in the second phase, senior citizens will be given anti-pandemic medicine. A meeting chaired by Federal Minister for National Food Security and Research Syed Fakhr Imam in Islamabad today discussed ways and means to enhance cotton production in the country. The meeting also discussed the revival of Pakistan's Central Cotton Committee. Speaking on the occasion, Sayyid Fakhar Imam said that cotton is an important crop. He said 7% of the edible oil in Pakistan is produced by cotton. Malaysian authorities have released plan of Pakistan International Airlines, which was seized on 15th of this month on the issue of some dues of the leasing firm. According to a spokesperson of PIA, the airline has reached an agreement with the leasing firm for an out-of-court settlement, after which the court ordered to release the plan. The PIA spokesperson said return of the plan is expected within 2 days. This is Radio Pakistan. British High Commissioner to Pakistan Dr. Christian Turner called on Minister for Finance and Revenue Abdul Hafiz Sheikh in Islamabad today. The High Commissioner was accompanied by Head of International Development Annabel Gary. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, complete shutdown was observed in Kupwara today to remember the victims of the deadly massacre by Indian troops on this day in 1994. All shops and other business establishments were closed while traffic was off the road in the town. Hurriyat leaders Ghulam Muhammad Khan Sopori, Shabbir Ahmad Dar, Bilal Ahmad Siddiqui, Abdul Samad Inqalabi and others, while paying tributes to martyrs, reiterated that Kashmiris would not forget the sacrifices of their martyrs for the sacred cause of freedom. In Paris, Jammu Kashmir Forum France, through a memorandum addressed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, expressed concern over human rights abuses in IIOJK. The forum also urged UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch to send their teams to occupied territory and assess themselves how continued military siege has paralyzed daily life in Kashmir. In India, protesting farmers have warned that they will not step back until the government repeals all 3 agriculture bills. Farm leaders from eastern state of Orissa to western state of Gujarat clearly stated that they would continue to support protesters in Delhi. The protesters are beginning to undermine support for Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the countryside, and his government has shown no sign of bending to farmers' demands. China says Indian government's decision to keep a ban on 59 Chinese apps is a violation of World Trade Organization's fair rules of business and would hurt Chinese firms. In a statement, Chinese embassy spokesperson Ji Rong urged the Indian side to immediately correct its discriminatory measures and avoid causing their further damage to bilateral cooperation. Russia and United States have agreed to extend treaty on further reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms without preconditions. Talking to journalists, Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov emphasized that decision is mutually beneficial and a right step. Earlier at Parliament's lower house today, a total of 399 lawmakers voted in favor of extending the agreement with no votes against or abstentions. In the first cricket test of 2-match series against South Africa in Karachi, Pakistan in their first innings were 308 for 8 at stumps today. Fawad Alam with 109, Fahim Ashraf 64 and Azhar Ali 51 were the top scorer for Pakistan. South Africa in their first innings were all out at 220 runs. And finally, the weather. Mainly cold and dry weather is likely to prevail in most parts of the country during the next 24 hours. And that is the end of the news. And here are some of the headlines. Parliamentary Party of PTI in its meeting in Islamabad today discussed overall political and economic situation in the country today. Interior Minister says peace has been achieved after a lot of sacrifices and no one will be allowed to disrupt peace and law and order situation in the country. Special Assistant on Health has said the government will provide coronavirus vaccine free of cost to general public. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, complete shutdown was observed in Kupwara town today to remember the victims of a deadly massacre by Indian troops in 1994. Russia and the United States have agreed to extend treaty on reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms without preconditions. In the first cricket test of 2-match series against South Africa in Karachi, Pakistan in their first innings were 308 for 8 at Stump today. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.